Hello boys and girls, welcome back again. I hope you had a nice weekend. I can feel it's starting to get a little bit cold, that's why I've got a jersey on. And I see my jersey, never mind it being back to front, but it's also inside out. My tags are sticking out. Well, there's a reason why I wore it inside out. That's because of the new letter that we're learning this week. And we're going to get to the story of letter E soon. So this is letter E for those who didn't hear me. But before we get there, we're going to start with a little song. As you can see, we're not in our normal space that I'm in when I'm here at my home, because the light isn't working in that one room that I usually work in where all my pictures are. So hopefully I'll get back there tomorrow. But for today, we're just here in this new room, and all I've got behind me is our letter for the week. So we won't be changing our days of the week to Monday. Today's Monday, and we'll catch up on all of that tomorrow. But for now, let's start with a song that starts with the letter E. It's about a spider. Do you know a song that's about a spider that starts with the E? E. I'll give you a clue. He climbs up and he goes down. Yes, Incy. Incy Wincy. Incy Wincy spider. So, if you sit up nice and straight and you put your thumb and your baby pinky finger together and your thumb and your pinky finger together like that over there, then what you need to do, you keep the top ones, those ones, stuck together, and you move the other ones to become the top ones. And you keep those together, and then you move the bottom ones apart and stick them together. So you always keep the top ones together, keep them together, and the bottom one moves up. All right, so let's try that. Some of you might know how to do that already. And if you can't, then you can practice. Quite fun to do. So let's start. 1, 2, 3. Incy Wincy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Up came the sunshine and dried up all the rain. And the Incy Wincy spider went up the spout again. That's our song about Incy Wincy spider. And now I'm going to tell you a story about Inky. And I wonder if you can think of what animal Inky is. Not a spider. I'll give you a clue. My cat brought one in the other night. It's got whiskers and it's grey and it likes cheese. And when I saw it, I went, eek! But my boys, they picked it up and they took it out again. A little mouse. So here's the story about Inky the mouse. A family has a white pet mouse. One night, the cage door is left open and the mouse escapes. It runs along the desk and knocks over an ink bottle. Can you hear the sound E in the word ink? The mouse is splashed by the ink. It squeaks and tries to scrub the ink off. Now the mouse is called Inky. So now you know the story about how Inky got her name Inky. And the song is about the story. So the words to the song are, Inky the mouse is my pet. She spilled the ink and got wet. Should we say just that part? It's a bit long. It's a bit more difficult than our other songs, but let's try. So, Inky the mouse is my pet. Say that with me. Inky the mouse is my pet. She spilled the ink and got wet. Say that. She spilled the ink and got wet. The ink it spread all over the desk. Say that. The ink it spread all over the desk. Ink is wet. Ink is wet. And the action for this is the mouse is full of ink here on its whiskers. So Inky has got all this ink on his whiskers. And remember, Inky tried to get the ink off its whiskers. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold your fingers open like this, and you're going to pretend to be that mouse trying to get the ink off all your whiskers. You're not going to just do it off one whisker and then off one whisker. You're going to do them all together. So you take all your fingers and you try to do them like that. Take the ink off like that. Should we try and say e and do that action at the same time? Come, do it with me. So fingers up and let's go. E, 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 e. Well done. So the words to the song again are, Inky the mouse is my pet. She spilled the ink and got wet. The ink it spread all over the desk. Inky's wet. And this is how the tune goes. So you can try and sing it with me. Inky the mouse is my pet. She spilled the ink and got wet. The ink it messed all over the spread. Teacher Layla, let's do that one again. Sorry. Inky the mouse is my pet. She spilled the ink and got wet. The ink it spread all over the desk. Inky's wet. One more time. Inky the mouse is my pet. She spilled the ink and got wet. The ink it spread all over the desk. Inky's wet. Very good, boys and girls. We'll try and sing that one again a bit later. That is a bit tricky. So I walked around my house to try and find things that start with an E. And you know what? It was actually quite tricky. One of the reasons is because E also makes a different sound, I, like ice cream and ice. But we're not going to chat about that now. I did, however, find a few things that start with E, with a little bit of help from our boys and from some books. So you'll see some of the things on my table today are from books as well. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so here's my E table. As you can see, there are more books than actual things. The first thing over here is I have got some ink. So that's the kind of ink that Inky spilt. There was a bottle of ink that Inky spilt, and people use this for dyeing things or for painting and even for filling up pens. And this is a pen over here, and inside this pen, it's got ink that's inside the pen. So this is E for ink. Over here, I promise it's not alive, but I do sometimes. The boys always love to put this under my pillow or in my shoe, and I think it's real. This is an insect. You get all different kinds of insects, and this is an insect. And over here, these are two ingredients. Today we baked a cake and we used flour and eggs, and we call those ingredients. Now over here, there's a house that Eskimos live in. I'm sure you know what that's called. That's called an igloo. Igloo. And over here on this page, there are a whole lot of inventions. These are all olden days and more modern inventions. And in this book, I've got some more E things. What do we see over there? Can you see them? All different kinds of iguanas. I wonder if anyone in our school has got a pet as an iguana. I don't think so, but I have met people that have got iguana pets. And over here, look at this awesome page filled with different musical instruments. So in this book, we had E instruments. We had E iguanas. And what was the first one that I showed you? The first one that I showed you was E inventions. Over here, we've got E ingredients. E insect. E ink. And an igloo. So boys and girls, those were all the things that I could find around my house and in books that start with letter E. What I'd love for you to do today is to walk around your house and see if you can find maybe some of the same things that I found, or maybe you find something different. Do you have any instruments, or do you have an iguana at your house? Maybe some insects. See what E things you can find. Then what I'd also like you to do is, I've got a special page for you of Inky and the ink, and what you can do is color that in using your own ink or your own pencils. If you can't print it out, then don't worry, maybe you can draw your own picture of Inky, or you can draw your own picture using an ink pen. And then the last thing, that if you want to, and if you've got some things at home to be able to do this, there's a little picture that I sent to Mom and Dad of some insect treats that you can make for snacks. So use things like peanut butter and some slices of apple or cucumber and maybe a little salty crack, and see if you can create some insects. I'm going to go now. I know it was a bit shorter than usual, but I've got another video that I'm going to do for you right now about all the different songs that we've learned so far. So we did the E song now, and we're going to sing it one more time before we go. And then you can watch the other video to practice all your other songs. So let's sing this song, and then I'll say goodbye to you. Inky the mouse is my pet. She spilled the ink and got wet. The ink it spread all over the desk. Inky's wet. And bye, boys and girls.